Well, good morning, everybody. How you doing here? Welcome to Chicago. I want to show how beautiful this view is. Looking to the John Hancock here. So here, we'll wait till the light changes so I can cross the street and we can walk back and forth here. Yeah, we're at Clark and Fullerton here. Let me make sure I got the chat on here. There we go. And yeah, it looks like a beautiful sunrise. I was thinking about going to the Lakefront. We went there, Tuesday. Look at that view. See, you can get that view straight down Clark Street to the John Hancock and the 900 North Michigan. And then we got this nice Art Deco here. See, Lincoln Park, here's where we're at here. Grace, how you doing there? Jessica, Michael, Miriam, Krista, Della, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Della knows where we're at. You were just here. Yeah, welcome back to Lincoln Park. Here we are, yeah, the five guys, and I'm just starting my commute to work. Hope you're doing well, and everybody else. We got a picture-perfect day here. We got mid-60s. We're getting close to the equinox. Hubert, how you doing there? Katrina, thanks everybody here. So here, yeah, let's start heading to work here. What is it, Thursday? The week's just flying by. And yeah, so we'll walk through Lincoln Park. We'll get to Old Town. We'll go through the Gold Coast. Here, yeah, see, they're up early here. They're the Taylors here. And early bird gets the worm. Oh, look, the garbage truck. See, the city that works. The garbage trucks there in the alley there in Anatolia. We'll go by the Big Apple Finer Foods here. I almost want to cross here, yeah. Let's, yeah, see, we get this nice view looking straight down Clark Street to the John Hancock. Well, we're going to head straight towards that. Here's the Big Apple Finer Foods. The Big Apple in the Windy City. Oh, almost tripped there. The Godfather, how you doing there, Wes? What's shaking? Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. So I can't believe Jimmy Kimmel was canceled. Isn't it funny? People get canceled on the left, they get canceled on the right. I know for 4 years. I'm not, you know, everything's political. We got to talk about stuff that happens. We can't act like everything's in a vacuum. Jimmy Kimmel will be fine. I think it's ABC's loss. It shows you the... I'm not going to blame the administration. I'm going to blame ABC. I'm going to blame the corporations for being influenced by politics. And it shows you the chilling effects, and we know why it happened. Oh, look at this. Wow. So here's some smash and grab. So I guess, yeah, I know that maybe this is why we need the National Guard in Chicago. I'm joking. This is new construction here, so I don't think they're even aware. This probably, and this could have just been, I noticed some garbage on the street. It could have just been some homeless person threw a rock through the window. This is 2324. And again, see, I'm not sugarcoating. There is crime and violence in Chicago. This is the big bad city. You know, if a politician could save us, please save us. Oh, politician, please save us. We need saving. I'm joking. I'll get off of this. I know you don't, it's too early in the morning for all this, but yeah, Jimmy Kimmel, he'll be fine. Whatever social media platform he ends up on, or a different network, and he still lives in the world. He just got fired from his corporate job. I'm prepared for the same thing. I fully expect. Della, listen to this. I know we've talked about this. It wouldn't surprise me if I lose my job over something I say. And again, I know people on the right felt the same way under Biden, under wokeism and all that. And now this is the just payback. We can't have any, you know. And I'm aghast at what happened to Charlie Kirk last week. It's so horrible that he can't even talk about it. I support free speech. He was a father and had kids and didn't deserve what happened to him. I'm glad they caught the suspect. You hear what I'm saying? And there'll be justice for the individual. That person's responsible. And it'll just be used as a cudgel to go against people that the current administration wants to. And if I get canceled for that, so be it. I'm still going to be here. Thanks for watching on YouTube. We'll walk down Clark Street. We'll head to work here. We'll head down Sedgwick. We'll go past the Psychedelic Barbie House. Here's the Francis Parker School. Hey, look at the mums. The mums are out. Mum's the word. So if you just joined here, we're south of Belden. We're going down Sedgwick here. We'll go down the Mid-North Historic District. Pete Haslett, how you doing there? Joel, thanks for tuning in there. You're right, Mark. You're right, Mark. See, look, isn't it amazing that people that had groups and organizations that had nothing to do with it will pay the price. And here, Chicago Landmark District, Mid-North Historic District. Isn't it amazing that, yeah, because, you know, the current the president was invited to go to England there, so they're doing the state visit, all the pomp and circumstance. Pomp and circumstance, is that what they call that? The British love their funny hats there with the horses and all the royalty. So, of course, the president can bask in that glory there. People were asked, they said, what's the point of this state visit? You know, what's going to come out of it? It's not to be, you know, it's just to coddle egos and try to influence through diplomacy. So we'll let it go on there. We'll watch it on TV. Hopefully everything goes well there. And I have nothing. I like the British people, UK. We're allies. And hopefully it continues to be so. Here's Esme. There's Esme Restaurant there near Webster and Sedgwick. They don't have to stop here, so I better get across the street. So the sun's about to rise here. I think the sun rises 6:35. So from here all the way to Halloween until the time changes, we'll be able to see more sunrises. I'm going to travel for work next week, but hopefully, maybe Monday, we'll try to, I'm not flying out until midday Monday, so maybe we'll try to catch some of the Chicago Hinge on Monday. I know Monday is the equinox, equal days of light and dark. So we'll try to get you some nice, but I think it's forecast for rain. I think there's rain forecast, so that'll kind of dampen any Chicago Hinge. But here we're on Sedgwick Street, the Psychedelic Barbie House. Look how nice this looks, this Victorian. See, they got the John Kearney statues. We show this a lot. And the wrought iron, cast iron fencing painted to match the cornice there. Look at these Italian, very patriotic. Look, they got the flags out here. This is the Mid-North Historic District, Lincoln Park, Chicago. I'm heading to work here, so I'm starting early here. But hey, I really appreciate, I know Della, if you're still tuning in, I really appreciate you visited me in Chicago. We had a good time, and we'll do it again. And I had a good time with my dad there. Thanks for letting me spend time with my dad there. And well, I went to Oldenburg. I went to Batesville. Here's the look at these beautiful bay windows. Look at the nice bay windows here. And again, the Mid-North Historic District. Nice stoops. Urban design. See, you get the chalk drawings here. Hi guys. Got the cat. Yeah, Better Homes and Gardens. Look at the window boxes. Yeah, thanks for tuning in here. 2100 block of Sedgwick Street, Lincoln Park, Chicago. Good way to start the day there. Yeah, all the Michael tiers there. Michael Rodriguez, D. Michael Anderson. Yeah, tacos tuning in. Taco jalapeno salsa. Yeah, we got everybody here. Pete, beautiful neighborhood. No, we're not safe anywhere. We live in Trump's America, where people snatch people, snatch people off the street. I saw, it's hard to, it's hard for me to watch Instagram now because every other feed Usually somebody from California. There was a guy riding a scooter, 2 masked men in a truck, just like a pickup truck. And some woman was crying. She was filming. She goes, "How do you guys sleep at night, the people in ICE with the mask?" The guy was desperately trying to cover his face because the last thing he wants is his identity, is he won't identify himself as a police officer snatching. I don't care if the person's a U.S. citizen or not. It's wrong. It's wrong for just as a human decency. The poor guy was there being scraped on the ground, drug around like an animal. And we espouse that we're for human rights. I'm emotional about this. So no, you're not safe anywhere. What if U.S. citizens are just hijacked? And the truck had Texas license plates. It wasn't even the same state as the person as they were arresting. So are we as citizens, if we put masks on, we're allowed to arrest people? We're allowed to just like jump people and not ask if we don't like how they look? You know, and if you don't think it won't stop at just illegal immigrants, this is what part of the reason I'm moving to YouTube. With the TikTok sale, one of the investors in the TikTok is a very staunch supporter of the current administration. So we'll see if there's any chilling effects, and I won't get him. Hey, we got some Halloween decorations here. So no, we're not safe. We're not safe in Chicago. You're not safe where you're at. We're not safe on the internet. We're not safe in the universe. Look at this. This is Beetlejuice. This is the snake from Beetlejuice. See, people are starting to put out Halloween decorations. We got that to look forward to. Got the Chicago flag. I noticed an uptick in anxiety. Americans have more anxiety. Is the anxiety going up or down? It's going up. It's getting worse for people on the right and the left. Everybody's got anxiety. The leaders are not calming it down. They want to fight. They want to use it to demonize groups they don't like. The president said he doesn't care about toning down the rhetoric because it plays into his playbook. And this is what people voted for. And if you think, you know, maybe you are allowed to have an opinion different than mine. You know, people, I have to react to people. I have to react to things in the comments to be real. If I simply ignore stuff, we're acting like we're living in normal times, which you're not. Again, I blame corporations. Every time the stock market goes up, it just emboldens like ABC to be able to collude with the administration, be fascist, and it's because they're being pressured. The CEOs of these media companies, they bring them into the Oval Office. Same with the social medias. Oh yeah, let's make some profits. You know, we'll invest in AI, and then it's just used to dominate our politics and ruin our whole political discourse. So yeah, I'm angry at corporations. I can't fight the current administration, but I can fight corporations. I can choose to cancel my ABC. I can choose to cancel my Disney membership. I don't go to Disney World. I don't pay for their content. I know my sister does because they got kids. Cancel your Hulu, and wherever Jimmy Kimmel ends up, I'll watch him and I will support him directly, instead of going through corporate advertisers who ruin our free speech. These, you know, even YouTube, I'll be critical against YouTube. Don't be evil. Hey, we're heading down Sedgwick Street. Here's this new construction. There's this new construction. We've been showing it there. Here's this nice mural here. Look at this guy. There's the sheriff. It's like Blazing Saddles. Yeah, I wonder if something else is going in this. They got the lights on. Public notice. Maybe something's going to go in here. We noticed a few things. That used to be Sedgwick's. Stanley's, of course, was on the corner. If you just joined, we're in Chicago here. We're on Sedgwick Street. Look at that nice balcony there. Just checking out the housing. I like this building because it has the has the shingle siding. It's like the shingle siding on the facade. Usually these people decorate nice for Halloween. They always got so much kitchen, nice stuff in their yard here. See, ground cover, easy to maintain. Chicago, Illinois, here, Sedgwick Street. Here we got 6:40 in the a.m. Happy Thursday. Huh. Tara, Chris, Brett, corporate shell game. Yeah, So, the Fed lowered interest rates a quarter point, watched the stock market go up 1,000 points today, rewarding their billionaire friends. The Fed is corrupted. I double dare the current president to fire Jerome Powell. What does it matter? I think he's a captured asset anyway. And that's just my opinion. You're right to invest in your 401k, collude with the corporate overlords, and you'll make $1 million and they'll make $1 trillion. So buy what they already own and live in their corporate monarchy. It's great. See, you have no choice. The stock market only goes in one direction. What am I complaining about? I should just invest in it like Warren Buffett. Here's this park, yeah, Sedgwick in Wisconsin. Look at those nice Italianate. And this one, they painted white. Look at this terracotta. I don't know what the original color was. I don't think it was white. I think they painted over it. Look at this terracotta piece here. And even that one. But it's not too bad. At least they're maintaining the building here. This is at Sedgwick in Wisconsin. Lincoln Park, Chicago. Look at that. Look at all that terracotta there, 1858. Got the nice gas lights. This one, hey, very patriotic. Look at the nice stoop there. And they got the ivy. This is a modern. This is an infill. Look how they, see, you can tell because it's got a garage. It's got a garage. This is not vintage, no way. And again, infill. And the reason some of this is infill, Ogden Avenue used to come through here at an angle. And that's why across the street they got these. That's almost like a postmodern art moderne, but it doesn't have glass block. And here's Sedgwick Street. We'll cut over, we'll catch out, we'll check the John Kearney statues, which are over here. Look how they added that sunroom at the top. They got the balcony with the cornice there. And thanks for tuning in here. So we'll dodge over. This shows you where Ogden Avenue used to go at an angle through here, Lincoln Park. Because you see these trees, you see how this is like at a 45-degree angle. This is where Ogden Avenue used to cut through here. So that's what made space for this park. Here, Oktoberfest is coming up. We'll try to check it out here. September 27th. I'll be coming back into town. That's not this weekend, next weekend. They'll have the Old Town Triangle Association near that building we walked by, near the Boys and Girls, Menominee Boys and Girls Club there. Old Town Triangle Association, City of Chicago, 1994. Look, they got all the plants there, the different types of plants here, community garden. And see, this is new. This housing was added after Ogden was removed. And yeah, here's the John Kearney statues here. Morning, Dan. How you doing there? No, not all the buildings are attached to each other. It's just some of them share walls, some of them have little gaps in them. Depends on the, circumstances of when they were built there and the developer. Here's the John Kearney statues here, Lincoln Park, Chicago. He was famous for making, he's deceased here, he was made animalistic sculptures out of chrome car bumper parts found in junkyards. And horses, look at the horses here, very nice sculptures here. And this one, I think this is a mule or a donkey or a young gelding or something here. Look at this. And I don't know if John Kearney did this one or if this was that. I think he did it. It's just different. It's kind of set apart. Look at the nice chalk drawing here. See, they got a playground. This is Lincoln Park, Chicago, heading to work here. I'll show you how this connects to the Midwest Buddhist temple here. We're walking to work here, 6:44 in the a.m. See, people walk the dogs here, and we'll head over to this chess pavilion with the fountain. We'll see if the drain's unclogged because it was a big puddle there. They got some nice benches here. You can walk by. How you doing? Morning. Good morning. How you doing? Yeah, it's good. Yeah, thank you. Chris H, how you doing there? Dan, how you doing? This is called Chicago. This is Chicago, Illinois, United States of America, planet Earth. Thanks for tuning in here. The neighborhood's called Lincoln Park. I'm talking too loud. Let's see here. So yeah, they got the drain unclogged. So there's the Midwest Buddhist Center, Midwest Buddhist Temple here at Hudson and Menominee. Those are streets. Look at this nice little fountain. I call it the kids panning for gold there, but they got It's really a bird bath. And they got frogs and butterflies. Look how you got frogs in his pocket. You got the birds, the little butterflies, and you got little butterflies. And look, he's got a bunch of frogs all over him. Frogs in his pocket. He's nice. You got the little chess tables here. Hey, walking the dog. It's great. Well, here it is. This is the Midwest Buddhist Center here in Chicago, and they got nice Zen gardens. People jogging. The Buddhism classes, Sunday school. Here's the Schmidt-Scary building in Lincoln Park. And again, Ogden Avenue used to remember Hudson and Menominee. This is Hudson, a 2-block street. It starts and stops. We'll head back. We'll go down Fern Court past the flags and see what's shaking there. Frog barking. That's it. You got it. CJ's mommy, how you doing there? Margie, thanks for tuning in there. Chris H, you don't got school? That's good. You want to go to my school? There's a car coming here. So you wait for it to pass. No parking on Monday. So I think it's over. Unless it's this coming Monday. They do street cleaning sometimes. Good morning. Need to do a long walk. Yeah, check it out there. Attachment. Yeah, that's a good Zen Buddhism. Everything's Zen. I don't think so. So now that we saw Oasis had their big reunion tour, has anybody heard anything about Blur? Remember, well, there was Blur was at, actually I take that back. Blur was at some of the big music festivals, I think Coachella. I'm thinking, oh, sorry, oh, the dogs. I'm thinking about Bush. Remember the British band Bush? Everything's Zen, I don't think so. Because Oasis, you know, me and my sister and my brother-in-law, we saw Oasis on the tour. Is Bush still doing a big tour? They were huge in the 90s like Oasis. I think they were as big as Oasis. I haven't heard much about them, but I gotta look into that. Here's, look at all the flags here. This is called Fern Court. And it's right here in between Hudson and Sedgwick, Lincoln Park, Chicago. Look, they got the basketball goals. We walk down here a lot, just heading to work here on a Thursday. Chi-Town, how you doing there? Yeah, YouTuber. So this is Chicago, United States of America, planet Earth. Someone just asked me the exact same thing like a minute ago. You know, even though I have Brian Really Chicago in my name, people are like, why do you got Chicago in your name? You're not a native Chicagoan. I'm like, so people know where I'm streaming from. Usually I'm streaming from Chicago. Been here 26 years, over half my life. And I titled this Chicago Streetwalking, but I guess no one sees that. I guess I could pin stuff. You know, we used to pin stuff on TikTok. Then it went away. I'll look in to see if we can do a title overlay. And even if I put Chicago on there, people would still ask. And I know it's because, you know, good question here. Fern Court, Eugenie Terrace, or Eugenie Street. We'll head over. We'll cross under the elevated train tracks and head down to Old Town here. Well, there's several ways we can go. I actually might walk down Eugenie. Eugenie's such a nice street there. Earlier this week, we walked by the L tracks. So, yeah, St. Michael's is over there. What time is it? If it was 7 o'clock, we might hear the bells chime. I don't know if they turn them off at night. Yeah. You couldn't see the pin. That's okay. Yeah, that's fine. Thanks for asking. It's nothing wrong. It's just, you know, it's the nature of social media, the live streamer. You know, people want to know where we're at here. So here's Sedgwick, Eugenie. And then usually people are like, go somewhere else. There, the Twin Acres. There's the L train and Sedgwick stop there. Twin Acres, you get your nice ribs and sauces here. And Frank Sinatra used to like this place and many other places. The LaSalle Language Academy's there. This is Eugenie Street. We're heading eastwards towards the lake. Heading to work here on Thursday, Chicago, Illinois. We got 6:50 in the a.m. We got a beautiful 65 degrees. It's gonna be another sunny 80-degree, picture perfect. Like I said, you see why I say September is our best weather month. It doesn't rain that much. The lake keeps you warm in the overnight because the lake waters are probably the warmest they are all year. They've been heated up all summer, and then it keeps our temperatures relatively mild until November. But every once in a while we get a freak October snowstorm, even when the trees are green. But hey, the Cubs are in the playoffs, so we're looking forward to October here. At least if you're a Cubs fan. I know no consolation for Sox fans, but White Sox fans. Look at the yellow house here with the blue door. I always say the Swedish house. Here's got the blue window boxes there. Look at the nice front yard here, the stoop there, Better Homes and Gardens. How you doing? Yeah, look at that. This is Old Town Triangle Historic District. Isn't this nice? Just heading to work. I'm very lucky. You think, you know, sorry to ruin it every once in a while talking about current events. I know it would be nice if I could just do my meditation and just look at this beautiful surroundings there. Dion's Chicago Dream. What is that? There, 303. Look at that bay window here. This is North Park in Eugenie, Chicago, Illinois. The triangles. Amsterdam's. Frank's tuning in from Amsterdam. That's great. There, North Park. In the wintertime, you get a nice view to the Sears Tower here, but the trees are blocking it. We're about 3 miles north of the Sears Tower. Yes, I said Sears. Yeah, the styles. Isn't this nice? Yeah, that's why urban design is important. Aesthetics, the built environment, the broken windows theory. So we saw the smashed windows this morning. That's why the broken windows theory. We can't tolerate simple property vandalism because at least I support the police. I support tough job they got to do. We got to have some social order, but we got the constitutional rule of law, and it's hard to maintain society in this crazy times here. Eugenie and Crilly Court, we went down that last night. So here's the Duck House. I don't think the Ducks are going to be out, but we'll head over towards the Gold Coast here, see what's happening here. We might just head down Wells Street. We'll go down Wells Street for a while. Yeah, these are the workmen's cottages here. Look at the nice, they decorate for the Halloween, Christmas as well. Here's the Duck House. I don't think the ducks are out, but we'll show you their nice habitat here. Oh, the turtle's out though. Here's the turtle. So here's your consolation. See, the turtle spotted us here. Hold on a second. There's the turtle. How you doing there, Myrtle turtle? There's the turtle in the front yard of the duck house there. And it lives in this pond. There were 2 turtles. Let's see if we can find the other one. I've only been seeing one there, but there's the turtle. And since the ducks aren't out, the turtle's got the whole pond to itself. So eventually its duck friends will come out there. But it's the duck house here on Eugenie, just west of Wells Street, Old Town Triangle Historical District. Here are the birds. Yeah, the turtle. You see the turtle, Grace? Yeah. Constitution. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Lindsay. The Constitution, rule of law, constitutional republic, democracy. Isn't democracy great? Do we want democracy or do we want mob rule? Let's let social media pick the next president. Oh wait, we already did that. Here's look at this nice block. Look at this. Let's have reality TV stars become presidents. We said the same thing with Reagan. We're like, how could an actor be a president? But it couldn't be worse than this. Look at that nice view. You get to the Sears Tower, looking straight down Wells Street. We're just south of Eugenie here. We're still north of North Avenue. We'll go by the Second City. We're up by where the exit used to be, the original exit, not the one on North Avenue, the original exit punk bar. Before my time, I used to hang out at the second iteration, which is the one I filmed there on and posted the rerun there. It's just exit. I know I keep calling it the exit. It's just exit. But there's the parking for this used to be the Treasure Island. Jennifer, you should eat. She peered in those windows. You could still see And that's why they taped up those windows, because they didn't like us live streamers at night peering in there, because you could just look in there and see the empty grocery store where the aisles used to be and everything. Yeah. That's good, Dan. You're Gen X, so am I. Yeah, mentioning civil rights, the Constitution gets you sent to the psychiatric evaluation. Yeah. Maybe I need to go to the rubber room. Put me in the straitjacket. Help! I need help. I need an attitude adjustment. I need some. They'll brainwash me into accepting our new reality. Here's the second city. So you see those four heads there. Let's hold on a second here. So you see those four heads there. This used to be the Garrick Theater on the Garrick Theater downtown Chicago 100 years ago, over 100 years ago, and they tore it down. And Richard Nichols salvaged that, and they put it on this facade. They added that at the bottom later, and this is the second city, the Improv, where the Saturday Night Live. Gilda Radner, we went by Gilda's place. Gilda Radner used to go through there. John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, John Candy, even Chris Farley. Here's Cochran's. They used to hang out here. There used to be a bar down there where the Blues Brothers used to hang out when they were filming the movie Moonstar's New. And here's the Walgreens. We'll see if they tear this down to build a 36-story luxury residential building. Here's a Chicago street sweeper. So here, sport cancer, breast cancer awareness there. There's the Chicago street sweeper turning here at Wells and North Avenue, Old Town, keeping our streets clean there. There's the Foxtrot. There's the second city. You go to the roof, the Utopian tailgate. We got footage up there for Memorial Day. We're hanging out up there, but there's the street sweeper going around the cars. North Avenue. Let's looking towards the lake, the sunrise. Good morning. What's shaking everybody here? Second city, yeah, go there. The real Improv. They usually interact with the audience there. There's the main entrance there where the movie theater used to be. You can go in there and go to the second level. And actually there's a third level even too, and you get to the roof. Old Town. So here we're in Old Town. We've got 6:58. And we're heading to work here on a Thursday. Where does the time go? These begonias. Begonias are looking good here. We're one cup at a time. Phil's coffee. Zany's. There's Zany's Improv. Zany's is a regular comedy club, stand-up comedy, right next to the smoke places there. Gallucci Pizzeria Napolitana. Hey, Breakfast Club. La Fournette. I'm saying that right. Slant of Light Books. There's a bookshop here. You go down. Old Town Oil. Merci Beaucoup Resale Boutique. All these nice little quaint shops. Here's a retail available. This is Woody's. If you like the Bengals or Ohio State, you can go to Woody's here. So if my Aunt Della was still tuning in. I don't know if she's still tuning in. Casey would love this. And Mike Overstreet. Yeah, I heard about Joe Burrow. I guess Joe Burrow's going to be out for a few months. Turf toe. What a tragic loss for the Bengals here, their star quarterback. But we got the Bears, so you're in good company with the Bears. The Bengals. The Red Orchid Theater here. What are they showing here? Red Orchid Theater. World premiere Veal by JoJo Jones. Performance begins September 25th here. See the Red Orchid Theater here right on Wells Street, Old Town, Chicago. 7 o'clock on the dot. And fantastic time there. Beat the traffic, yeah. He set up near the stage. He was so nervous, he was afraid that they were gonna, yeah, you know, sometimes they call on the audience and you know you're part of the skit and you're like, how do I get out of this? And it's too late. At least it's better than going to the Baton Club. My friends would always try to get me. I was the same way. I was like, oh no. Here, let's go down Wells Street here. There's the Spice House since 1957. There's Topo Gigio. It's a nice Italian restaurant right here in Old Town. Hey, the Frame Hamlet. See these little shops and the gentrified, expensive Old Town. Here's fireplace in. So yeah, this is in transition. Hey, the Theopal Studios. Yeah, let's go down this street here. We'll go by the nice sidewalks here, the Carl Street Studios. And look at this. Look at the sculptures there. You got a fountain. 1978. So Burton Place, they made it a cul-de-sac. They got some interesting here's a rare Art Moderne. We show the ones on State Street. This is on Burton Place. See that glass block? This goes back to the 1930s and 40s. And Carl Street Studios, Theopal Studios. Interior design, they added the look at these little terracotta pieces and tile they affixed to the building. I think they added this. And this wasn't always there. You can go back behind these buildings, and they got interesting stained glass. Again, Jennifer You Should Eat shows a lot of these things as well. And she walks back in the alleys behind there at night. See how they added that? Look at that window bay. Very Tudor. That's like an old Shakespearean time. They added that big window. Look at this courtyard. And they invite people to actually look in here. Look, see, they got the tile on the sidewalk. This was done years ago. And you can look right through the portal there. Nice little fountain. Look around the doors. Carl Street Studios there. Look at that. Yeah. See, look at the glass. And the interior of these buildings are amazing. And they were resisting modernism. They were resisting the modernism of Mies van der Rohe at a time when all this stuff was just being thrown away. Found objects from buildings destroyed to build highways and urban renewal and housing, public housing, and put it right here. The only thing, when it rains, it's really slippery walking on these tiles, so be careful if it's slippery when wet. See, they add the little tiles. Look at the door, and again, Art Moderne style with that curve there, even though it doesn't have the glass block. This is Italian 8. We're in Old Town, Burton Place here at LaSalle. See the Theopal Studios. 143 West Burton Place. You got the round windows. Look at the detail. Yeah, look at that little horse there. They stuck it right in the window there. So hey, we'll cross the street. We'll head over to Gold Coast here. So this is LaSalle Street looking north. Here's LaSalle Street looking south. They've repaved this street. It's brand new pavement. Brand new pavement. Yeah, they've been here. So from what I understand, LaSalle Street wasn't always as wide as this. Look at this building. So this building survived on this side of the street, but I think they lopped off one of the buildings. That's why that lost its facade to widen LaSalle. I think no, actually I take it back. This makes sense now. They widened LaSalle this way, so they tore down all the buildings on this side, and that's why later the Sandburg Village was built. These buildings were here before they widened. But this one, for some reason, it lost its facade. But I think they changed it around whenever they widened LaSalle Street, and that's why there's nice historic vintage housing on the west side, but on the east side, it's all these super blocks. Chicago, Illinois, Sandburg Village here. We're in between LaSalle and Clark Street, south of North Avenue, actually south of Burton Place. So you can still get some, you can rent these. It's actually not a bad location at all. And here, Lakeshore Music Studio. Oh, Chris, yeah, you're right. Jen knows her stuff. She knows more about all this stuff than I do. I've learned so much by watching Jennifer You Should Eat. Chris knows what as well. And Chris, thanks for being on. Fort Wayne, Indiana there. Major Johnson, how you doing there? Thanks for tuning in here. Welcome to Chicago. Yeah. Arthur Miller, yeah. Edgar Miller. Thank you. Edgar Miller is associated with Carl Street Studios. Yesterday we went by the Art Moderne there on State Street, and Edgar Miller worked with Andrew Rabori on those Art Moderne buildings on State Street. And also, you know who else worked? Bertrand Goldberg. Bertrand Goldberg must have been early in his career, worked with Edgar Miller and Andrew Rabori. And Edgar Miller is associated with all those buildings we just went by. They're on Carl Street, or it used to be called Carl Street, now it's called Burton Place. And street names change over time, neighborhoods change over time. That's why we talk. This area changed over time. Clark Street used to be completely different. Clark Street, this was kind of a Skid Row barrio area 100 years ago. I'm not doing it a pejorative. You know, it was an ethnic conclave for Puerto Ricans, and they cleared that out to build this stuff, which is ironic. I know this was supposed to be public affordable housing, then it became market rate in 1979, even though Cabrini Green was still just a few blocks that way, which was true public housing. The public housing became racially segregated for multiple reasons. This whole city demographics changed dramatically from the 50s to the 70s as people fled to the suburbs for multiple reasons, and it was enabled by the highways. It was actually like the government made it possible. It was called economic development. Now we call it urban sprawl. The Chicagoland's vast, and all these things are complex. Who's that urban planner walking Chicago? He does a great job walking around, and I'm glad a fellow urban planner, he does a better job with me with the details. And I think he lives by Argyle up there in Uptown, so he covers the Uptown area really well in other areas of the city. Here's Sandburg Village. So here, let's head over to the Gold Coast here. We'll see if we see the sun coming out. We might check out the beach. I might quickly go to Oak Street Beach, and then we'll head down to Michigan Avenue, just mixing it up a little bit. I thought about just going along the lakefront and catching the sunrise. We might try that tomorrow. I might work from home tomorrow because I'm going to be traveling for work next week, and we'll ease into the weekend. But hey, we'll head downtown today. We'll go by Daily Plaza, see if they're doing the farmers market. I think it's still going on. I missed the Lincoln Park Farmers Market. We usually go through there. I think I went a different way yesterday. I was further west. We went to the old Wayman Church. Wayman Church is being developed there, the former Cabrini Green site. So here we're crossing here Clark Street. There's Clark Street looking south. And Sandburg Village. Margie, how you doing there? Ava, how you doing there? Ashley. Yeah. You like the beach? Okay, we'll head over. Stick on here. We'll show you Oak Street Beach in the morning. People will be out there playing volleyball. At least they were Tuesday. So Andrew Rabori did this building, which it was very early in his career. It's a very neoclassical, not typical of his later work, which was a lot of Art Deco and Art Moderne. And so, but this was designed as an apartment building, I think just around either just before 1900 or just after. It has a nice courtyard, and we actually got to go through there on the Dearborn Garden Walk, and it's beautiful, that courtyard with the trees. And if you could live in this building, and it's still used as an apartment building to this day, and it was for people that lived out in the railroad suburbs, the wealthy people that lived in like Riverside and Lake Forest over 100 years ago could have their apartment in the city, their business apartment, so they wouldn't have to take that long train ride if they had to stay overnight in the city. Mad Men used to do that too in New York City. Right here, Dearborn Street and Schiller. This is the Gold Coast now. A lot of times we head down Dearborn Street. Better Homes and Gardens is beautiful housing here, multi-million-dollar housing. This is a private racket club, and they sometimes we hear the men's choir they're practicing. Look at this amazing gas light here. They got a nice fountain here. Gold Coast. Look at this porch. Look at these window bays. Look at all that concrete, or terracotta. I think it's terracotta there. No, it's concrete. Details. God's in the details. Yeah, that was gas. That was real gas. I'm not gaslighting you. Walking to school. Walking to school. That's what I do, Chris. It's like you know how people are like, when I was young, I had to walk to school uphill 3 miles in both directions. Well, that's me. I walk 3 miles in the morning, 3 miles at night, and 3 miles in the middle of the day. In the snow. Hey, look at that. Look at that nice terrace there. So, hey, we're heading over to State Street. Look at this Queen Anne style. Look at that. Look at that turret there. Look at that detail right there. That's in the chimney. That's a chimney. That's another chimney. You want to be a chimney sweep? There's State Street and Schiller. There's that sun. Hey, the Chicago Hinge. We're getting it already here. Yeah. Smells like victory. So here, let's cross the street here. State Street and Schiller, Gold Coast, Chicago. Yeah, we head down there sometimes, State Street. Good morning, Lambie T. How you doing there? Yeah, Shauna. What's shaking there? Yeah, welcome to Chirac, the Gold Coast of Chirac. I know this doesn't represent the whole city. People are like, do you realize how many rich people live in New York and Chicago and LA? Actually, there's more rich people live in LA and New York than Chicago, but there's poor neighborhoods, there's rich neighborhoods. I pay high rent to live on the north side here with all these rich people. And I never feel accepted either. I always feel like I'm their servant working for their companies. Here's look at that. Look at the hat there. Look at that nice terrace there. Cupola on the top there. This is on Schiller Street, Gold Coast, Chicago. These places decorate nice for Halloween. All these houses, that's why it's so nice walking through here for Halloween. See, we went by this yesterday. We walked up to Astor Street, the Charlie Persky house, the Lumber Baron, and we went up this way. The Astor Street's just beautiful both directions. There, for sale there, you can check on the price there. How you doing? But yeah, Charlie was a lumber baron there, and and Louis Sullivan was the architect. Frank Lloyd Wright was his apprentice on that house. Look at these buildings on Schiller Street. They're just fantastic. We showed them last night. Now we're showing them in the morning. And Potter Palmer used to have his mansion right over here. But look at these facades here. Gold Coast of Chicago, Schiller Street. We're east of Astor. We're just west of Lakeshore Drive. And look at these amazing facades. This is why we get up and do this stuff. Look at that turret there. Look at that window. I never noticed. Look at that giant window. I bet there's a stair in there. And they got like a 3-story window. Where do you get a piece of glass like that? That's amazing. I never noticed that. Isn't it amazing how you can walk down the street a million times and I've never noticed that? So here's where Potter Palmer and Bertha Honore had their Gilded Age mansion. It kind of looked like the water tower. It looked like a castle, but it was red brick, but it kind of had turrets and stuff and castle and little rook looking things on it like the water tower. You know, but they tore it down to build this. And this is still a nice location. I mean, you're right next to, look, there's Lake Michigan. Eric, how you doing there? No, you see what's happening to TikTok. TikTok's being bought. I don't like the new terms and conditions of TikTok. I'm not the only one. A lot of content creators were making escape plans. This is my escape plan from TikTok. We stream here on YouTube. I'm still keeping my TikTok as a backup. I'm still posting reruns there. But I like the fact that if you miss like this full live rerun, you go to the live tab here on YouTube. You can watch the full live rerun if you miss it. And here we'll head down past the begonias here. People waiting for the bus. This is Inner Lakeshore Drive. And we're heading to work here on a Thursday. Oh yeah, I like living close to the lake here. My Aunt Ella was up here. We went to the dunes. We would go to the beach. And it's expensive, but you know, the cold winters, you keep it from getting too crowded. People are always like, everybody's going to move to Chicago. I'm like, wait till wintertime. You know, we still got high crime, we got high taxes, and we got harsh winters, so I don't think we're in any danger of becoming overly gentrified. We're just normally gentrified, like everybody else. Go to Austin, go to Miami, Florida, and check out real estate prices. Yeah, go to Honolulu, go to real places where people really want to live. Here's John Hancock. They built this. This is newer stuff. They built this about 20 years ago. There, 61 uncompromising rental residence. You could rent this. I thought this was condo. Now it's rental. Huh. Everything's rental now because I know the Fed just lowered interest rates, but things used to be condo. Now everything's rental. Yeah, you're right, Michael Anderson, that the TikTok algorithm will still be owned by China. What I fear, it's interesting, that's not part of the deal. They're going to try to reverse engineer the TikTok algorithm, but they're going to use it for corporate American interests. So I actually trust corporate America less than I trust Chinese minders. Isn't that amazing? And I'm not crazy about China either. You know, China's not for democracy. China's not for free speech. China's certainly not for American values, and yet American corporations, they want the money. So the Oracle and Larry Ellison and whoever's buying TikTok, you know, I'm afraid they're gonna, just in time for the midterms, they're gonna do American propaganda, which is corporations. What is advertising? It's propaganda for corporations. Here's look at this thing. Look at the actually, I take that back. That building we showed was built like 5-10 years ago. This is the one that was built 20 years ago. This was the one that was built became condo next to that park. I got it confused there. That other building wasn't built 20 years ago, it was built 5. It just shows you I make mistakes. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. I'm just trying to maintain a live narration, stream of consciousness. So, okay, see, look up. This is Inner Lakeshore Drive. We're at Goethe and Inner DuSable Lakeshore Drive here. There's Lake Michigan, Gold Coast, Chicago. Most of you see when you drive on Lakeshore Drive, all these high-rise condo buildings because of this view. There's a few, 3 or 4, and this like when Potter Palmer and Bertha Andre had their mansion there was all 3 or 4 story private residences that used to line when Lakeshore Drive wasn't a highway. It was a carriage promenade for your horses. And look at this. This is modeled off the Palace of the Doge, just like the Chicago Athletic Association there down by Grant Park. Look at that. That could be in Venice there. Look at those, or Italy or Genoa or something there. Look at this beautiful balconies. Look how the sun hits it in the morning here. This is right across from Lake Michigan. We'll go down to Oak Street Beach, and this is like, there's 4 single-family residential mansions that still front Lakeshore Drive, and these are the last ones. I thought that was a motorcycle, but that was a car there. Hey, Christopher, how you doing here? We're looking at some of the last mansions here on Inner Lakeshore Drive that weren't torn down to build the high-rises that take advantage of the views there. So, at one time, Lakeshore Drive was lined with housing like this. And this is a Richardsonian Romanesque. Look at that. Look at its balconies. Gates. You see, in the 20s, there was the first wave of high-rise luxury co-op apartment buildings here. And then in the 60s and 70s, they had a second round where they built these mid-century moderns on Lakeshore Drive. We'll head over to the beach here. We got Scott and Lakeshore Drive here, 7:20 in the morning here in Chicago, Illinois. Beautiful 65 degrees. We're going to get up to 80, sunshine all day. Get out there, enjoy it if you can. Thanks for tuning in there. Yeah, isn't that interesting that this ended up being a highway? And again, it shows you our auto-centric society where so much of our public space is dominated by automobiles. Once a year, they shut down Lakeshore Drive for Bike to Drive. I love that. My Aunt Ella got to experience it with me. it's actually, for a brief moment, it's quiet. You don't hear this constant traffic noise next to your lakefront. And you can imagine for a brief what our lakefront is beautiful. There are a few places like Montreux Beach where the peninsula sticks way out and you can get away from the highway noise, where the bird sanctuary, and treasure those areas, because you know there are areas where you're not right next to the highway. But so much of our lakefront, even our beaches like North Avenue Beach, you're right next to a highway. Even Oak Street, we'll show you. Then you have to go through these creepy tunnels to get there, and it's spiders and you know. But hey, positive, negatives, everything. You take the good with the bad. Look at these flowers here. So here, let's cross the street here. Well, we don't have to. We'll go down this. We'll go down this stairwell here. But here, look at the flowers. And here, we're going to eventually get to the giant Hancock. So if I lose my connection, mods, you know what to do. Let people know I'm going to be coming back. We're going to Oak Street Beach here, Chicago, Illinois. And I usually lose my connection in this creepy tunnel. We popped out the other side. Can't walk up steps here, dear. Don't look at the screen when you're walking up steps. Hey, we made it. We made it to the lakefront here. What is it? September 18th, 2025. We got beautiful weather here by Lake Michigan. We're at Oak Street Beach. We just left the Gold Coast. And we'll head down. This is the running and biking path. There's the giant Hancock. Let's go out and check out the beach here. Who stuck this pole here? Liza, how you doing there? Yeah, Lambie T. Chris. 3D rendering. Oh, really? I'll look into that, Chris. Yeah, I would like to see what it looked like if they removed Lakeshore Drive. And since I don't own a car, I think I could live with that. But I live close enough to walk to work. See, that not everybody has that luxury. I know a lot of people have to do long commutes. And other people, you know, their livelihood, Chris and my cousin Mike, they drive Uber and Uber Eats and Lyft and all this stuff. Here's Oak Street Beach, Chicago, Illinois here. 7:24 in the a.m. Got a beautiful day. This is all freshwater, Lake Michigan, Chicago, Illinois. See, we walked behind all those buildings there. And that was is the Gold Coast. We'll head down to Streeterville, which is where John Hancock is. All this is Streeterville. And then there's Navy Pier. Man, friends and neighbors, how you doing there? Look at that. Look at that nice view too. Navy Pier, people. There were people swimming last night. Yeah. London's tuning in there. That's great. Yeah. Beach day. Yeah. Look at this dog. This dog's just laying out there. Look at just getting the sun there. And it's awesome. Look at this cute dog here just laying. Oh, there, you got up. It hurt me. So the people dig holes here. Look, no one's playing volleyball. This is the first morning that no one's playing volleyball at the beach, and it's a beautiful day. Maybe it's because it's Thursday. Maybe if we come here tomorrow. No, I'm probably going to work from home tomorrow, so. There's my shadow. Oh. There's the seagull. Hey, hardly any waves this morning, gentle waves. See, sometimes Lake Michigan's as flat as a pancake. And that's today. Surf's down. Here, Oak Street Beach. We'll head up down Michigan Avenue. Yeah, beach day can be every day. Aren't I fortunate that on my way to work, if I leave early enough, I can walk along the beach, both to work and home. And that's why I paid a high rent and don't have a car. Here's, these people are like, you could live so much cheaper in the suburbs. I'm like, I know. Then I wouldn't be able to come here as often. Positive, negatives, everything, trade-offs. Hey, 875 North Michigan, we'll head past there. I think Michigan's looking nice. There's the sun. The sun is nice. Every day could be a beach day. Man, smart dog. You see that dog laying there? First trip to Chicago. Thanks for checking us out there. Appreciate it. Yeah, check out my content there. There's all kinds of stuff going on this time of year. Yeah, it'd be nice without the cars. You know, I argue sometimes, I feel like I'm not a full U.S. citizen without a car. I remember during the pandemic, you remember all those, you know, the modern form of bread lines during the pandemic, people were idling in their cars, waiting for food. And, you know, a few people like me didn't have cars. They would wait. I didn't go through those lines, but I was still employed, fortunately, because of PPP. But people without cars had to wait in those lines, and sometimes they wouldn't give them their food if they weren't in a car, and there was somebody behind them in an SUV, and you know they needed the food but they had a car. And that's the strange reality is, you know, sometimes people don't have a house but they have a car, because the car is the most important thing, because you can live in a car if you have to, but you know, what payment do you give up, your house payment or your car payment? And I don't feel like a full citizen without a car. They're like, where's one time I had jury duty and I had to go way out to Rolling Meadows, which is out by Arlington Heights, where the racetrack that they're going to make the Bears Stadium. That's part of Cook County. I had to go there for jury duty. I didn't have a car. I took transit, took a bus to get there. I had a backpack. They ran my backpack through security and they said, "Sir, you can't bring that in." I said, "Well, what am I going to do? You got a locker?" I said, "You know, I brought my work stuff and I don't have a car." They said, "Can you lock it up in your car?" I said, "I don't have a car." And the police said, "There's nothing we can do for you," because they assumed that the only way I got there was a car. And this is in Chicago. And I'm like, not everyone has a car. Not everyone that goes to jury duty has a car, you know. And then so I had to leave it like out there, like anybody could have just stole it, because I couldn't bring it into jury duty. And I should have known that. And I was young. This was 20 years ago. I didn't realize not to bring a backpack to a courthouse. But now I learned. But I didn't have a car to lock it up. You know, I'm gonna have some random stranger, "Can I lock this backpack in your car?" It's like accepting luggage from the airport. You're not gonna do it. No one's like, "What's in this backpack?" You know, books, my laptop. What are they doing here? So there's Northwestern University. See, they go from there's a law campus and the medical center. There's a bus that goes from Northwestern up by Evanston down to downtown Chicago, just like the Loyola bus, which is in Chicago. But Northwestern has a university presence here in Streeterville, and Loyola has one near the water tower as well, the water tower campus. So here's the boom. Look at that boom. We saw all those bucket trucks decorating the tree in front of the Lincoln Park Zoo. That was nice. Izzy, how you doing there? Yeah. So you used to be able to walk underneath here. They closed this off. Oh, look, they're working on they got a open pit there. It's all swamped out down there. There's the Drake Hotel. There's the John Hancock. We're at, let me get across the street here before this light changes. Oops. There, we made it, Oak Street. I wonder if they're putting the lights on Oak Street for Halloween. But, yeah, they're working on the entrance to DeSable Lakeshore Drive from Michigan Avenue. One lane still open, so it should be fine here. Alright, let's go down Michigan Avenue here. Michigan Avenue, the Drake. There, One Magnificent Mile. Go by 900 North Michigan. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Chicago. 7:31 on the dot. I might have enough time to go to the Bean. Let's see how fast we can get down to the Chicago River. Police line, do not cross. They're guarding this plant. This is where I saw Kelsey Grammer one time. He was walking a dog like that. I think he was staying in the Drake. People asked if I see any celebrities. There, the Bloomingdale's Mall, 900 North Michigan, Walton Place in Michigan. Yeah, the Drake Hotel. Hey, there's the Louis Vuitton. So I guess they got this all fixed up. I'm still trying to figure out exactly where was it here that the truck backed into the Louis Vuitton, that smash and grab that happened last week. It's all fixed up already. I was out of town. If I would have been walking by in the aftermath. But so I can't see the comments right now, so I'll let my mods deal with the comments if there's anything pertinent there. But this happens with Streamlabs sometimes. Like the comments work, and then all of a sudden they stop working, and I think it's just the idiosyncrasy of these. I might have to try Prism there. But here, let's go by. Here we're underneath. We made it. See, remember we saw this 3 miles or 2 miles away. Now we're underneath it here, the John Hancock, 875 North Michigan. The Benihana's is underneath us here in the Sunken Plaza, the Cheesecake Factory. You get to 360 Chicago, the observation deck. Actually, instead of going to the Bean, I'm gonna dodge over and go through Streeterville. Let's check out Streeterville. Wait, I got time to do it. We always go down Michigan Avenue. I'll mix it up. We'll go by the Museum of Contemporary Art, and we'll go down Fremont Street, which becomes Columbus. Or no, what is the name of that street? Fairbanks. We'll go down Fairbanks. I'm wrong. There's Benihana. There's the Weston. There's the Fourth Presbyterian, the housing along Rush. There's the Cheesecake Factory. But yeah, let's head down behind the John Hancock here. Let's check out the landscaping here. There it is. Yeah, look at the old Playboy building. Yeah, look at these nice looking skyscrapers, well proportioned. See, you can get 53 feet. There's 53,000 square feet here. There's over 50,000 square feet there. That's over 100,000 square feet of available retail. I think we have enough retail on Michigan Avenue. I don't think they're going to be building any new retail for decades. Look at all these empty storefronts. Shows you how the world's changed, because it's multiple reasons for it. Just not as much retail space is needed, even for restaurants. People don't eat out. People, bars, not just in this city. I noticed it in Cincinnati. I was talking to my cousin Mike about it. So you used to be able to go on the side here. You go up to the Signature Lounge. They got rid of the 95th and 96th. I don't know if they're going to expand the observation deck up there or not. The observation deck's on the 94th. We've got reruns there. I saw IC Speed was up there. This is the parking garage, double helix for the John Hancock. It's an interesting way to enter the parking garage. And you can come out on, it's a vehicle, you'll be flying up there. And it shows there's a parking garage in the John Hancock. It's at that level, and you can't even see it. You're actually behind the glass there. There's cars parked in there because there's people that live there. And you can pay to park in there too. I don't know. There, $20 early. That's not too bad for this location. And here's the Broadway Playhouse. Here's the Broadway Playhouse here. Here, let's walk through here. Let's see. Hey, how you doing? Thank you. I'm moving to YouTube because I'm not sure what's happening with TikTok. So thank you. I'm just letting everybody know.
I recognize your voice.
Thank you. Good.
Like, who's that guy talking to
That's
himself?
good. Thank you. I know. That's you. I know. I'm a crazy. Thank you. Thanks for saying hello. Appreciate it. That's good. See friends and neighbors there. Yeah. So there it is, the John Hancock. But here, yeah, Broadway Playhouse here. And look, you can go up, drive your car, go across there, go into the John Hancock. There, we'll go underneath the Water Tower Place here. And you can connect right. There it is, Broadway Playhouse here. 20-sided tavern, Phantom of the Opera. There's a food court. I think there's still a food court here. Here at Broadway Playhouse, and we're underneath the Water Tower Place Mall. See Water Tower Place? And then you can get to the Ritz-Carlton this way, Torali, Italian Steak, Rooftop Lounge. Ritz-Carlton. It's the Ritz-Carlton Hotel here. You can drop off for the hotel. So here, we'll head through here. So here we should get some nice views once we go by the Museum of Contemporary Art here. Oops. So here we'll head this way. It's hard to. Here's the entrance to the Ritz-Carlton here. Chicago, Illinois. Join the wait list. There's a Wildberry over here. So there's a Wildberry in the Prudential Building on Randolph, and there's a Wildberry in the Water Tower Place, Ritz-Carlton Tower. Here's the Museum of Contemporary Art. Here we're across the street here. I think there's a Yoko Ono, Yoko Ono exhibit. Music of the Mind. Oh, people are rolling in their graves there. People still rightly or wrongly think Yoko broke up the Beatles. No, the Beatles wanted to break up anyway. They all, people just use Yoko as the excuse. But Yoko Ono was a well-established artist in her own right even before she met John. And there, Yoko Ono, Music of the Mind there, opening soon. October 18th, February 22nd, so it'll be all winter. Here's the Museum of Contemporary Art in Chicago. We've gone inside. I got reruns inside, maybe sometime at lunch. We'll go in there again. We'll see if we get a free day. Here's the Children's Hospital. Remember how we always talk about the Children's Hospital used to be in Lincoln Park? Well, here's where it's at now. And there's the Ritz-Carlton Museum of Contemporary Art here, Chicago, Illinois. And there's kind of a park between the water tower all the way to the lake. And I guess there's pipes underneath that go out to that water intake crib underneath this park easement. But here we'll head over to Chicago Avenue. Mies van der Rohe Way, named Mies van der Rohe, the architect, because of his residential buildings there near here in Streeterville. So it's called the Stanley Children's Research Institute and Lurie Children's Museum of Chicago. And there's a whale. They got a whale and a calf here. If you go inside here, it's just beautiful. I'm not going to go anywhere past the lobby. I'm just going to walk here and show the whales. I'm not going to go up to the second level. I've done that before. But here, look at these revolving doors. You got to keep moving here. Keep moving. And see, if you go up, there's a second lobby with a nice fish tank, but here's the whale and the calf there. This is the Brisker Foundation lobby of the Ann Lurie Children's Hospital. They got a pot belly. They got these whales. And our friend Brandon used to work here, but he works at a different hospital now. So here, let's go to, we'll cross through here. Can't get out, thank you. So here. So here's the drop-off zone here, and for the Children's Hospital. I think the Women's Hospital is here, and there's a bunch of hospitals here. Northwestern, the Ability Lab, and Northwestern. You ever seen Chicago Hope, or I think even ER back in the 90s? It was loosely based off of these hospitals somewhat. Old Clooney. But if you just joined, we're in Streeterville, Chicago. We still streaming okay? There, I could finally see the comments there. Your sister gave birth in one of those. That's great. Yeah, see, a lot of people were born here. No family members. A lot of times on TikTok, people would tune in to my live streams because they were stuck in Chicago dealing with family members that were at these hospitals. And that was great. And they got a feel for the city. We actually met. It was great. So here we'll head over to Fairbanks. We'll go down through Streeterville here. And we got 742. We're still heading towards where I worked there. We'll get down to the Chicago River soon enough here. We're just entering from a slightly different way. See, Prentice Women's Hospital. This is the Women's Hospital. There was the neonatal center. They tore it down. That was a Bertrand Goldberg. In my opinion, they should have preserved that, but capitalism took over and they made it like a parking garage for another hospital. It was a very unique Bertrand Goldberg building. He's got some really interesting designs in other cities. But here, see Northwestern campus. So north is down. This is looking the way we're gonna walk. We're here, we're gonna walk right down here. So Fairbanks and Superior, Chicago, Illinois here. Hospital land, I call this hospital land. You see a lot of sky bridges and hospitals in this area, Streeterville. People in the blue scrubs getting changing shift. They're waiting for the bus. We see that in Michigan Avenue. These are all medical staff here. David, how you doing there? McCrae, thanks for tuning in. So McCrae, I'm having a hard time reading the comments because of Streamlabs. They're just not flowing right, but I can see them. Every once in a while I can see one at the bottom of my screen because it's on the recorded rerun there. So I'll chime in every once, but if I miss something, I'll trust my mods here to answer questions like where is this at? Chicago? What time is it? 7:43. There, Northwestern campus. Look at that. So that's the furniture mart. That's what historically, now it's something else. We've walked it. How you doing? Good morning. Hey, I'm on YouTube now. That's good. I'm letting everybody know I'm on YouTube. People are saying hello, and that's great. Yeah, see, they got this empty lot. They let this grow up, but they must have cut it. They're watering it now. It was really big, tall grass prairie. But now they must have cut it. These, I don't know what they're doing with it, but you get this nice view. We're on Fairbanks here in Streeterville, Chicago, Illinois. Thanks for tuning in. So it's a long block. We're about 2 blocks east of Michigan Avenue, heading south. There is a street in between. It's called St. Clair, which is closer to Michigan Avenue. And then the blocks become really long east-west. See, we're right here. These are all hospitals. All this purple stuff and blue stuff's hospitals. There's the Ability Lab. We'll head down Fairbanks. Fairbanks Division becomes, here's Michigan Avenue. Here's the directory. Look at all these hospitals. Northwestern campus information here. Oh, there's the horns. Hey, Stan's Donuts. So here, we'll leave that beautiful building here. Stan's Donuts. That's a huge Stan's Donuts right there. So you go to the hospital, then you go get your donut. Sit on the bench here. Nice streetscape. Hang out by the begonias. Top 10 pulmonology, lung surgery program in the nation there, Northwestern Medicine. Yeah, so we got really good hospitals in Chicago. Northwestern, of course, University of Chicago hospitals down there in Hyde Park. We got the Rush Medical Center there, the Stroger Hospital. That's the whole campus over there on the west side. This is on the north side, just a little bit, barely on Streeterville. It's really downtown. A lot of the hospitals are concentrated downtown in Streeterville here, which makes it, that's why there's so many ambulance sirens on Michigan Avenue, because they're trying to get to this area. But there's all the housing here in Streeterville. We'll go by Timmy O'Toole's here, Irish pub on Ontario. Yeah, they got Doubletree Hotel, some parking garages here. Arrow Scott's over here. What time we got? 7:46. Good, we got 15 minutes to get across the river here. We should be able to do it. We walk over this area sometimes at lunch. This is Helman Jan. This is one of the last buildings Helman Jan did besides the 1000M, before he died, passed away in that tragic bicycle accident. But I remember when these were like some of the only buildings. This was surrounded by like service parking lots, and this area is a lot more built up now since I moved here 26 years ago. But the DoubleTree was here for a while, and this modern building we're gonna go by. Timmy O'Toole's, Irish pub there. This is where Fairbanks becomes Columbus. It gets wider as it heads south towards Grant Park. It's the same Columbus that goes by the Buckingham Fountain, and they use it for parade grounds in Grant Park. But we should get some nice views over towards the, we'll eventually walk back to Michigan Avenue. I'll show you the view you get towards the Tribune and Wrigley, walking that way. People getting off the bus here. See people commuting to work here, getting off the bus. There's your Pace bus, comes in from the suburbs. Here, let's cross the street here. Yeah. There's the back of the Signature Omni there. Residential. We've been to the top of that building thanks to Brandon. There's that, yeah, Monitors building I was talking about. So Michigan Avenue's that way, Chicago River's that way, Lake Michigan, Navy Pier's that way. We're heading towards the river. Good day. Look at the color of the windows, this gold windows on the brown there. So the steel in this building is purposely meant to rust, oxidize. It's a certain type of steel that's meant to rust and turn that color. And there was a period in the late 60s, early 70s where the architects in the international style, modernism, they loved it. But it looks rusty. It was meant to look rusty. Here, I'll cross the street and show it to you here. I keep getting caught by the light. Instead of waiting for the light, I'd rather keep crossing the street. But hey, the Cubs are in the playoffs there. They won yesterday. They beat the Pirates 8-4 there. So they earned a wild card spot in the postseason. So we'll see how. Some people are speculating they might face the Padres, but we're not for sure. Depends on how. Fairbanks this way, Columbus this way. And Ohio Street is the dividing line. We'll go to Grand Avenue here. No, Grand Avenue. This is Grand Avenue. We're a block south of Ohio Street. Excuse me, I was wrong. Yeah, go Cubs. Go Cubs, go. It's the only team we got that has a chance to do anything. I don't think the Bears are going to the playoffs. We know the White Sox are not going to the playoffs. You know, the Bulls have been getting into those one-game play-ins to the playoffs, and then they lose that. But Planet Fitness, Whole Foods, yeah, we'll cross the street here, and we'll head up to back to Michigan Avenue. So here, this is Columbus Drive. There's the Aon. There's the St. Regis. Look at this amazing view. You get to the Lakeshore East skyline here, looking down Columbus. So we wait for the. Here we got the light. Okay, good. So yeah, you can look back to this stuff here. We're gonna head up these stairs. We usually do this at lunchtime, where we walk over to Navy Pier. We'll go this way. Up the stairs we go. See, so the multiple leveled streets there, you see the streets below the streets, which is, you know, we're leaving the ground level, and even though it looks like you're on the ground, you're really raised into the air here. We show this all the time, the Stack City, three-dimensional city. Pedway exists in this space. It's really not underground. Even the pedway, most of the pedway is above ground in the vaulted area between the actual ground and the raised streets. There's that nice view. Look at that view. You get to the Wrigley and Tribune. We should get the Intercontinental Hotel this way as well. It looks so nice in the morning with that morning sun. Hey, I'm going to start singing the Bee Gees, The Morning Sun. Yeah, up the ladder. Go down the rabbit hole, up the ladder. Look at the Tribune building. Let's zoom in there. Yeah, clean and tidy. Yeah, we're back. Colleen, we're back. We're back on YouTube. Back in Chicago, sweet home Chicago. I'm glad to be back too. Look at that. Look how nice the Tribune looks with the morning sun. How you doing? Yeah, very nice. Hey, walking the dog. So here, yeah, the Optimus signature. We've been on that rooftop, thanks to Brandon there. We got nice views. So here's the NBC Tower. There's the St. Regis Genie Gang. There's the new 400 Lakeshore. Look how tall it's getting. We'll have, maybe at lunchtime we'll go over there. Today might be a good day to go to Navy Pier, yeah. So maybe at lunch we might go to Navy Pier. We went to north of the island yesterday, so if you missed it, we took a bike ride. And I could ride a bike to Navy Pier. I never thought about that. If I ride a bike to Navy Pier, the good thing about YouTube, I can ride a bike and live stream. So eat that, Tic Tac. There's the top. See the Onion Dome there to the right? That's the top of the Intercontinental Hotel, which is the Medina Athletic Association. And then it's the Tribune Tower to the left. We're in Chicago. There's the Wrigley Building. We'll get a nice view. We're under the NBC Tower here. Jerry Springer used to film a show here. Judge Mathis used to film it. Is Judge Mathis even on? I don't even know. I don't watch those court. I never watched Judge Judy or any of that stuff either. Here's or Jerry Springer, but I know who Jerry Springer was because he was the mayor of Chicago, Cincinnati at one time. Here's look at this little greenhouse. You can sit in a table there. we came by here one time. There was a band playing. Remember that? Yeah. Here, look at that. So, hey, thanks for tuning in here. We'll wait for this car to go by. American Red Cross. Okay, thank you. I wasn't sure if they were going to stop. They saw I had a camera. That's right, the only reason they stopped. I don't blame them. Thank you. I thought it was a lawyer. Mayor, welcome to Chicago. Here we'll go through Pioneer Plaza. We got 754. We'll cross Michigan Avenue. I'm not going to go to Bean. We got so much footage of the Bean. I got to get to work here. And since I showed you some of Streeterville there, we did that instead, which is good because we saw some stuff we don't usually see. When I walk to work, I need to do this more often. Every once in a while, we'll go this way. I just need to leave my apartment early enough to do it. Yeah, the Cubs. Thanks, Taco, for posting the score there. California's tuning in. That's great. Yeah, I know YouTube, the messaging's not as nice as TikTok. That's one of the disadvantages of YouTube. I agree. People used to be able to directly reply to people's names and stuff. So if you're listening from YouTube, I'm sure you got the programming ability to do that. I wish you would, you know, hey, here's a streamlined camper van. Let's check this out. They're probably promoting Airstream or something, but everything, the city, it's a Rivian. It's a Rivian. Let's look at this. So again, you know, they're getting free advertising by me, a social media guy, just showing their commercial here in the public space, but they pay the city to use this. So Rivian must have paid the city to use this for their promotion. So we'll show you what it is so you can see. Same with the ducks. People are like, that's a waste of taxpayers' money. I'm like, the Special Olympics, they paid the city to do that, you know, and to have their fundraiser. But here's the Wrigley Building in front of the Trump Tower here in Chicago. Here's the Rivian Electric Joyride. So this is a Rivian. It looks like an Airstream classic camper. I guess you can pull behind your Rivian electric vehicle and one of your solar panels on the roof. Get behind the wheel, Rivian today. They're putting out the plywood here. I wonder what it looks like on the inside. They're setting it up here. Here's the Rivian. So here's the Tribune, the Wrigley Building here. Rivian Joe right here. I don't have it open. Hey, look at this nice star here. So Rivian Electric Joyride here. Okay, so here's their truck there. We see them. They have a dealership on Rush Avenue, or Rush Street. I'm sorry, Rush Street. Here's yeah, look at this beautiful view to the Loop skyline here from Michigan Avenue. Jewelers Building, Mather Tower, Wrigley Building. Thanks for tuning in here, Chicago, Illinois. 757, there's the Apple Store. Everything's a corporate brand, destroying our politics. I honestly believe, I'll double down, I think corporate money and the stock market's ruining our politics, and it's the creeping of fascism where the administration could tell the CBO to fire Jimmy Kimmel because he made a joke that the president didn't like. And I know it's very controversial after Charlie Kirk's death, but if you believe in the First Amendment, that's the hardest thing. And I was shocked, and I don't believe that what happened to Charlie Kirk should have, because of his speech. That's wrong. But that's the responsibility of the person that did it, not people associated. And the chilling effects is they're limiting free speech for all of us. Here's the Wrigley Building. Here's the Chicago River. Look at the sun there. There's the St. Regis. That's just my opinion. You can have a different opinion of mine. Please respect my free speech. This is not free speech. This is corporate monetized speech. So if you get muted in the comments, blame YouTube, blame Oracle, blame TikTok, because they limit speech all the time too. And part of the reason I'm moving from TikTok to YouTube is I don't trust TikTok to protect their free speech, and they haven't been doing it anyway, and it's probably going to get worse. Not that YouTube's any better. What happened to YouTube not be evil? I think YouTube, Google, and Alphabet, they're buying back their own stock, but they are investing in Chicago, so I'll reserve my vitriol and be a little less reactionary. Here's the tall Trump Tower, 1,200 feet tall. There's the Maria Towers. There's the Wrigley Building. Oh, the sun hits it. And look, if we swing around here while we're waiting for the light, this is the Bridge House. You can tour the Bridge House across the way there. McCormick Bridge House Museum there. See, we just walked through by there, the NBC Tower. Here's the Tribune, the Wrigley Building in Chicago, the Chicago River, the Sabo Michigan Avenue Bridge. We got the light here, so let's cross. London House, 333 North Michigan. You see in the relief there, they got some of the Fort Dearborn pioneers in the relief there. There, John Goldberg, New Towers. Michigan Avenue, we're gonna head to work. Fannie Mae, Blackhawk Store, the Chicago Architecture Center's right there. I always forget to point that out. Michigan Avenue. Oh, you get your Jelly Belly. Crumble cookies. Nah, the Godfather. Ernie's tuning in. Yeah, we saw Ernie earlier this week. Check out Ernie's Chicago Nuggies and all the Chicago live streamers. I saw Nick Koiken had a great one where he always does this, where he'll be live streaming on the Riverwalk, and someone will ask him to take their photo, and they'll give him their phone, and he'll take a selfie of himself and act like he took a picture of them, and then when he'll walk away, and then when they look at their photo, it's a picture of him instead of the picture they thought they got of them standing with, like with the Wrigley Building in the back or something. So Nick Koiken's up to his old tricks there. But hey, all the Chicago live streamers, Overtime Seb, Nia, Jay City Walking Girl, we got Steve Lyon, Jody GTV, we got Jennifer You Should Eat, we got all the, I'm leaving people out, we got Keys Impact. When I met Keys Carter, he was Big Glacier Keys, and then he was Keys Impact, and he was Keys Carter, so it's great content creator. And Nia and Keys, they help people out with teaching classes of how to do social media. That's why they're very savvy at using social media, which I can learn stuff from them. That's great. There's the Carbide and Carbon building. Here's the Citizen M Hotel. There's the Wrigley building that we just saw. And we're here at Water Street waiting for the light here. The Old Republic building. Yeah, look at these vintage skyscrapers. 802. So I'm just going to walk another block. We'll wrap it up. There's the Jewelers building. Carbide and Carbon. This is Daniel Burnham's sons designed this. Look at this nice amenity deck. There's the Mather Tower, Michigan Avenue. Hey, I think we can cross here. This bus is kind of blocked. Oh, here comes a big bus here. Hyde Park Express number 2, Michigan Avenue looking south. Yeah, there's nobody turning left. So let's go here. So hey, have a great day, everybody. Thanks, mods. If I missed your comments there's something wrong with Streamlabs. I'm going to work on it. And we'll be at lunchtime at noon. We'll take a walk. We'll probably, I don't know if I'll go to Navy Pier. We might do something else. We'll figure out what's going on. But it's going to be a beautiful weather day. Make the best of it here Thursday, September the 18th, 2025. And I'm going to be traveling for work next week, but we still should get the Monday morning walk in. And then we'll see how it goes the rest of the week. But it's good to be back in Chicago, even if only briefly. And we'll still be here on the weekends. There's a lot of stuff happening this weekend. We might even do a Saturday afternoon stream. I heard Buddy Guy's going to be at Navy Pier. So I know Buddy Guy did his final concerts last year. I heard a rumor that Buddy Guy is going to be at Navy Pier. They're having a bunch of events. I don't know if it's going to be Saturday or Sunday. I'm hoping Saturday. So if you like Buddy Guy and Chicago Blues, check that out. I'm sure somebody will be covering it. If not, not me. So have a great day. Thanks, mods. We'll see you. There's the Hazel Johnson mural to social or environmental justice. Have a great day. We'll see you soon here from Chicago. Thanks a lot there. Yeah, thanks Taco for the plug. Thanks Lambie T, Michael Anderson. Thanks everybody. We'll see you soon. Appreciate it. Thanks Chris. All right, bye. Thanks Taco.